I want to get to this conference tournament thing before we move on. I let you guys get on with your day. So, I have six questions I want answered. I want you guys to each answer them. I'm going to have an answer to. You guys get 1 minute. Okay,
Ooh.
1 minute. It's never going to stick. It's never going to work, and we're going to end up going for another like 45 minutes on this pod. But please, 1 minute. 1 minute takes only. Which Big Six conference tournament are you most excited to see? T.O., we're going to you first on this one.
Oh man, Big 12 has got to be up there. I mean, just because of how much talent there is, and every game's been a grinder all season. So is Kansas going to be able to do it again? I think that's a huge thing. I don't have all the brackets in front of me right now, but just looking at that league, it could literally be anybody. And the game is not played at Fog Allen Fieldhouse championship game, but it might as well be sometimes. But at the same time, like a lot of different teams in that league could certainly get on a run. And think about a team like Iowa State, who defends at a high level. If they just have a couple guys get hot for a few games in a row, that's the beauty of this portion of the season. Mm-hmm. So there's just so many different guys they're all good. I don't think there's any hiding that, but I am interested to see how that league shakes out.
Panta?
Yeah, I'm actually intrigued to see what happens in the SEC tournament because of the fact that Kentucky has played better here down the stretch, and I think that if they can get on a run, that it would be really interesting to see Cal lead them there. What version of Tennessee are we even going to see, fellas? Like, and the Ziegler injury is just brutal for Tennessee. It's brutal for the Vols. It's brutal for everybody involved there. You know, the door's now open here for Buzz Williams and Texas A&M to win this thing. I just think Wade Taylor is an absolute beast.
He's good.
He's been unbelievable. You called that one, T.O. I'll give you credit on that one. You called that one.
He's been fantastic. Does Auburn, who we've harped on throughout the season, what do they do in this conference tournament? And, of course, you have, right now one of the most polarizing storylines in all the sport with Alabama. Don't sleep on Vandy. Here comes Jerry Stackhouse. So the SEC hasn't been as strong as we thought it might be. And I didn't even bring up Arkansas. But I do think that this conference tournament could produce some real flair.
Yeah, I mean, look. It's the Big East tournament.
It's the Big East, yeah.
It's the Big East tournament to me because if you look at what we're going to get from the quarterfinals on, you got UConn Providence. You're most likely going to end up getting Villanova and Creighton, right? You could probably get, I think, a Xavier Seton Hall matchup with a bunch of Seton Hall fans showing up in a game they probably have to win if they want a chance to get into the NCAA tournament. That's going to be an unbelievable quarterfinals. And then, if the basketball gods are looking kindly down on us, we can get Marquette with one of UConn and Providence, ideally UConn, and then Xavier Creighton in the semifinals. Like, can you just think about how awesome that is going to be? Think about how great that game is going to end up being. So to me, it's the Big East tournament. All right, give me one team.
That's the mark of that's why T.O. That's the mark of teammates. We set you up there.
Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't going to take the obvious choice. We all know.
Oh yeah, look, we're trying to downplay the fact that this is a Big East podcast that sometimes talks about national college basketball. So we gotta pretend sometimes, right?
And none of us. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. None of us said the Big Ten.
It's so meh. Whatever. I don't like it. It's. I don't need to go on my anti-Big Ten.
I'd be curious.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop in the audio from T.O. back in the preseason when he said the Big Ten sucks, and I'm just going to let him take his victory lap. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We'll just replay that. Give me a team from somewhere in one of these tournaments, Fanta, that you think can make a run that people aren't really paying enough attention to.
Because of their overarching guard play and explosiveness, and I think that they've fallen off the map. There's two teams. Number one for me, I like NC State's ability, and I think if they could get on a run, they're a team that could win the ACC tournament. Similar to just how Virginia Tech came out of nowhere to some people last year. NC State, to me, is that team with Joyner, And with that backcourt and with Smith, who's just a killer, they are a team that's very difficult to stop. And I think they're the type of team, T.O., that day to day, like sometimes a team's worst thing is that there's 3 or 4 days between their next game.
Yeah.
NC State's that team. They can just come back and hoop because they've got hoopers. So they're one for me. The other team that I'm intrigued to see this week, by virtue of the fact that they're going to be well coached, they've been really close, but they haven't broken through. And they're fighting for their lives. And we all know a desperate dog can sometimes emerge. Is Oregon. I could see them making the Pac-12 final and have a shot to win that thing. And maybe Dana Altman captures some very late magic with this team still. They've got talent. It's just they've been 1 or 2 possessions away in a lot of these games if you look at their last month.
T.O.?
I'm going to disagree with you on NC State for only matchup purposes, because if they win their first game, they play Clemson. And Clemson is like the antithesis of everything that NC State is, and they've had trouble with them this year. So I don't think that's going to happen. But what I could see happening is, guys, it could be like a 12 seed in the Big Ten. Because Purdue's not really figured it out yet. And who's the 12 seed? Is it Wisconsin? I think Wisconsin's a 12. Yeah. Like, those guys could get hot and defend and then bore you to death into a Big Ten championship. Like, I think that the most intriguing when it comes to that are all those bottom of the bracket teams in the Big Ten, because there's not a giant gap in between number 2 and number 12. So I think if you're looking for a league with the most upset potential, I think you can go with the Big Ten. And I don't know which team in particular right now, because I'm trying to find the brackets, can't freaking find them. But if I had to guess, the Big Ten has the team at the bottom that could make the run all the way to the top.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a 12 seed. They would get Iowa in the second round. You got to win that, and then you get Michigan State. The quarterfinals.
So
yeah, that's very doable. Penn State also is a team that would be interesting there. I have 3 written down. 1 is Villanova for obvious reasons that we don't need to rehash. We've been over that enough. 2 is Vanderbilt. They've been as hot as anybody in the country. And
Stacking coach in the
SEC. The big question is going to be the health of Liam Robbins. That guy can never seem to stay healthy, but he was a dominant 5 for the time that he was healthy.
What's he out for right now?
It's an ankle. Is there a foot?
Dude, 7 footers and feet.
Yeah.
Like, oof.
Yeah. And then Texas Tech. I'm in on this Texas Tech team. Devian Harmon's a player.
You
Jalen
really
Tyson's. I think that
there is talent there.
There's talent there. There's players that have made runs, and I do think that.
So you got to take his dad out of the picture, and then his son's going to coach the team, and you think it's just going to magically change things?
I don't know if Luke's going to be coaching that team. So
they're going to play Kansas. They're not beating Kansas.
We'll see. I could see Texas Tech making a run. Texas Tech has top 25 talent on that roster, and I don't think that they were as bad as that 0-8 start. So I could see them making a run, and I could see them stealing an automatic bid, which would be thrilling to watch. All right, which top 3 seed, right? Top 3, top 4 seed. Which one of like the top 15 teams in the country do you guys think has the most to prove this week, Fanta? I'll go first while you guys think about it. Go ahead.
I'm going to say Indiana. Okay? Because you know what? Well, we could talk about how the bottom of the Big Ten, this, that, the third, like just show your talent and go out and win this thing, or be in the final. They're going to get either Maryland or a bottom feeder in their first game. They should win that game. And then if they go on to advance, I'm pulling up the bracket here. The fact is, they are in a position to win this Big Ten championship. Purdue's been up in the air. We talked about Indiana all year. I don't know what transpired with them last week in getting blown out by Iowa. I don't know what the heck. T.O., is there such a thing? Are players tired of the regular season the last week of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to play. Guys, Indiana's going to play Maryland potentially. And then in the semifinals, they're probably going to play Northwestern or maybe Penn State, Illinois. I mean, needless to say, make the championship game. If Indiana's not in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament, then to me, I can't move the needle. I'm never going to be able to move the needle on them. 1 minute I think I know who they are, the next minute I don't. So they're the team out of the top 4 that I think needs to make that conference championship game. And big Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament. Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament.
Because the Big Ten tournament hasn't been around for that long, right?
I think 25 years, probably. Wow.
Yeah. It hasn't been around that long. It started in 1998, so 25 years exactly. Wow, Fanta, good job. I think you went with the wrong team in Indiana. To be honest, I think it's Purdue that has the most to prove. Like if you're a national title contender and you can't win this Big Ten tournament, then you're not a national title contender. Is that fair? I know weird things happen in this tournament play, but like, come on, man. Like you're Purdue. You got the National Player of the Year. You're supposed to be this team that's supposed to be this juggernaut, and you got a league where Northwestern is the number 2 seed. Hey guys, just a reminder, our sponsor for today's episode is Run Your Pool. They are hosting the Field of 68 Bracket Challenge. This year, they are giving away $1,500 in free prizes. It's all an incentive for you to get on there and find out just how good their platform is. I've been using them for my bracket pools for years. I've used them for Super Bowl squares. I use them for everything that I need to use them for. The biggest survivor pool that I'm in for both NFL and NCAA tournament is by Run Your Pool. So go check them out. The link's below. Tap in. Fucking go win it.
Yep.
T.O., go ahead.
They split with Gonzaga during the season. I think St. Mary's it's time for them to end somebody's run. And I think they can do it. Randy Bennett was that league's coach of the year for good reason. He's a hell of a coach, and they've got players to do it. And they thrive where I'm not going to say Gonzaga struggles because that's not the right word. They don't struggle, but they thrive at the guard spot where Gonzaga's shown some kinks in the armor. So I think with Logan Johnson, Aiden Mahaney, they could go and win and they could break up this streak. And if there's ever a conference, this bracket, you guys have seen this bracket for the West Coast Conference, hilarious. It is the best bracket.
You get a triple bye for the top 2 seeds, a double bye for seeds 3 and 4, and a bye for seeds 5 and 6. So if you're a 7 through 10 seed, you got to win 5 games. If you're one of the top 2 seeds, you got to win 2. They protect their top 2 seeds.
And it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's ridiculous. But I think St. Mary's it's your time now.
Yep.
Go ahead and grab one.
Yep. All right, Fanta, which team at the bottom of the bracket, like somewhere on the bubble, somewhere on the cut line, maybe a 10 seed? Who has the most to prove at the bottom of the bracket this week? Who has the most on the line?
Now, all of a sudden, it's Rutgers. It's Rutgers. Mm-hmm. They may miss the NCAA tournament. They're going to play Michigan here in this A9 game, and then they're going to play the team that you're talking about proving something, Purdue. The Scarlet Knights have really fallen off here over the last month, guys. I thought like a month and a half ago that they were one of the best 4 teams in the Big Ten. And now
they still might be because everybody in the Big Ten stinks.
Yeah. And now they might make it. So, look, they're an interesting one. Here's another one is Mississippi State. Chris Jan's team is 1 minute they're last 4 in, the next they're first 4 out. They've been hovering sort of all over the place. So they've got to potentially prove something here in the SEC tournament. And then, you know what? I'm going to go with T.O.'s Tigers. I mean, come on, Clemson. Come on. They're that team. They're a 3 seed here. You say that they match up quite well, T.O. You say that they should. Will they beat NC State?
Yeah, they will beat NC State.
All right, so then they're going to meet Virginia or potentially Carolina.
Yep. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that it's that part of the bracket in the ACC to me that we're going to figure something out, because I don't think that you get all of North Carolina, Clemson, and NC State in the tournament. I think you get one of them, and if one of them comes out of that region and makes it to the ACC
NC
tournament
State's
title game, they were on the cut line They were one of the 4 play-in teams, right? So I think that you probably want to beat Clemson if you are them. You lose to Clemson, some of these other teams on the bubble make a run, like you could find yourself on the wrong side of the bubble.
And that happened a few years ago. I think it was in Charlotte. It was the exact same game. Like in Clemson, NC State, they both needed to win. I think NC State ended up winning, but they blamed the non-conference for not putting them in or something like that. This was 4 or 5 years ago. But no, I think the team with the most prove is Clemson. I mean, you got to win one. I think you win one, I think you'll be okay. I really do. Like, here's the thing. I think I've ranted on this enough. Like, top 8 teams in the ACC are good. The problem that you've run into is I've talked to some people around the conference here recently, like, you got to figure out a way to soften up this non-conference in November and December because it's killing your reputation. It's killing your reputation while you try to figure all this stuff.
Don't soften it up. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Don't soften it up. Play some
soften
games.
it up. Well, here's the thing. Play conference games in November and December. So then while you're figuring it out, then at least when you're beating each other up, you're beating each other up as opposed to people out coming in and then beating you up then. Like I figure something else out with the schedule to where like you're at least like you can play some of these non-con games in January where the coaches have figured out the rosters. But the bottom 3 teams of that league have just crushed everybody else because it just drags their metrics, kills them. They'll occasionally win one. Guys, I said this at the beginning of the year. I was like, you're going to have some bad teams. Then what's going to happen is they're going to come and chip off some of these teams in the middle. It's going to kill them. By God, that's exactly what happened, especially like Florida State, who started out the year 2-9, where they get 7 conference wins. Just it crushes you. It crushes you.
Yep. All right. If you can magically make one matchup happen this week, what would it be? I'll go first because this one, there's 2 that are very obvious, right? Actually, no, I'll let you guys go first because there's 2 that are obvious to me.
Go ahead, take it first. You never go first.
All right. So there's 2. One is a Kansas State Big 12 tournament title game in Kansas City where you will have half of the crowd in blue, half of the crowd in purple, and all of the crowd hammered going at each other at 6:00 tip off. That would be awesome. Unbelievable. The other one, Carolina, Duke ACC tournament title game where Carolina's NCAA tournament bid is basically on the line. That would be unbelievable theater.
If they get to the championship game, they're getting in.
Yeah, they probably are, but let's just say you beat
they're getting in Fanta. They're getting in Fanta.
Let's just have fun with it, man. Like just imagine that scenario. That scenario. It would be awesome.
That one of the biggest misnomers about this week, the committee knows who they're putting in right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of there.
Everybody thinks that, like, oh my God, we could prove it. We could prove it. We could prove it. No. At this point, you actually think that these people, these suits in Indianapolis, are staying up till 4 or 5 a.m. to totally reshape their thought process? They got a good idea who they're
what they do is they come up with all of these different hypotheticals, right? So it's like, if this happens, and this happens, then this is what it's going to end up being. That's the way that it works. Give me your matchups, guys. Give me your matchups.
Go ahead, Phantom.
Well, I'll say a couple here. I think that if we get a UConn Villanova Big East championship game, it's not out of the question that the Villanova could still capture the magic and go on it. I mean, they got to go through Creighton, who they beat by 12 2 weeks ago. And they got to go through potentially Zach Fremantle-less Xavier or Seton Hall pulled off an upset. The point is, that would be wild at the Garden if Villanova's fighting for its life and UConn's on the other side. You'd have a ruckus crowd. That would be crazy. I'd also sign up for Creighton UConn just because of the history and it would be a great game. That would be one. I want Indiana Purdue. I mean, Indiana Purdue in the Big Ten final would be outstanding. It'd be fun. Jackson Davis going for the Hoosiers' first Big Ten tournament title. Edey looking to win a conference tournament title. You'd have rivaling fan bases there. It would be wild. Duke Carolina would be great. SEC on the opposite sides of the bracket. Like, I gotta tell you, give me Alabama, Kentucky for that championship. Man, that would be wild. And in Nashville, Brandon Miller Brandon Miller's back home this week.
Yeah.
Miller's from the Nashville area. So, like Bama, Kentucky, if Cal gets hot, that's compelling theater, fellas.
Yep. I like that one. The Bama, Kentucky. I do think Kentucky, didn't they get throttled by like 40 points or something like that down in Tuscaloosa?
Tuscaloosa.
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 Sorry. That was a complete mistake. I don't think Duke Carolina is going to happen. But guys, I'll be honest, man. Like, every game is going to be intriguing. I just hope some team doesn't. Here's the problem that you run into, especially when it comes to conference championship games. Like,
when you can't figure out all the brackets, I'm just kidding.
I couldn't figure that either. But like, it could always happen in the ACC where a team that didn't get a bye makes the finals in 5 days just because, and then they just get absolutely freaking throttled in the finals, and it's so anticlimactic. Like, I hope two of the top 5 teams in that league make it to the finals, because then at least it'll be competitive. But outside of that, guys, they're all going to be good. Go ahead, Phantom.
One mid-major final I really want. Tuesday night, I would love to see 30-3 College of Charleston meet Hofstra, who has won 12 in a row. The CAA final could be nuts if it's the Cougars and the Pride. Because Charleston probably has to win the game. But if they lost to Hofstra, they would be 30-4. 30-4.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Charleston Hofstra would be wild. Hofstra hasn't lost in close to 2 months.
Yep.
How about my guys at Furman going back against Chattanooga in the finals?
And Jake Stevens.
And Jake Stevens decides.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game. That's happening tonight, Monday night, 7 p.m. tip-off. We'll see if Bob Ritchie is celebrating or if Bob Ritchie is drowning his sorrows after this game tonight. So that'll be a fun one. All right, listen, this has been the DCF podcast. So for John Fanta, for CZ Binance, make sure you go sign up and run your pool. Please just go sign up. It's going to be awesome.
Sucks.
You can challenge us. Right?
Next time we'll have a bracket. Next talk, we'll have a bracket.
Next talk, we're going to have a bracket. So, yeah, this has been the DTF podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you guys again next Sunday. Selection Sunday. Let's do it.